Selenium interview questions and answers. What is Selenium WebDriver? How does it differ from Selenium RC? Selenium WebDriver is a powerful tool for automating web browser interactions. It provides a programming interface to interact with web elements and perform various actions on web pages, such as clicking buttons, entering text, and verifying content. Where Selenium RC, Remote Control, was the predecessor to Selenium WebDriver. Unlike WebDriver, which directly communicates with the browser using native methods, Selenium RC used a JavaScript program called Selenium Core to control the browser. Selenium WebDriver is generally considered superior to Selenium RC since WebDriver offers a more stable and efficient way to automate browser interactions compared to Selenium RC. Explain the different types of locators supported by Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver supports various locators to identify web elements on a web page, including ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, CSS selector, and XPath. What is the difference between findElement and findElements methods in Selenium WebDriver? The findElement method returns the first web element that matches the specified locator. If no element is found, it throws a no such element exception. But the findElements method returns a list of all web elements that match the specified locator. If no elements are found, it returns an empty list. How do you handle dynamic elements in Selenium WebDriver? Dynamic elements are those whose attributes or properties change dynamically. One can handle them by using dynamic XPath, CSS selectors, or by using explicit waits to wait for the element to become stable before interacting with it. What are the advantages of using Page Object Model, POM, in Selenium WebDriver? The advantages of using Page Object Model include improved code maintainability, reusability, readability, ease of maintenance, enhanced collaboration, and it facilitates automated testing. Also, it promotes separation of concerns by keeping the page interactions and locators separate from the test logic, making the code easier to maintain and scale. How do you handle pop-up windows and alerts in Selenium WebDriver? One can handle pop-up windows and alerts using the alert interface in Selenium WebDriver. First, switch to the alert using driver.switchto.alert, and then accept, dismiss, or get text from the alert. Explain the concept of implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait in Selenium WebDriver. When would you use each? Implicit wait sets a global wait time for the WebDriver instance. It waits for a certain amount of time before throwing no such element exception. Where the explicit wait waits for a certain condition to occur before proceeding with the execution. We can specify the maximum time to wait and the condition to wait for. The fluent wait, a variation of explicit wait that allows to define polling intervals and ignore specific exceptions while waiting for a condition. How do you handle frames and iframes in Selenium WebDriver? Frames and iframes are embedded web pages within the main web page. We can switch to frames and iframes using driver.switch-to.frame method to interact with elements inside them. In this example, the switch to frame by index method takes an integer parameter representing the index of the frame to switch to, while the switch to frame by name method takes a string parameter representing the name of the frame to switch to. The switch to default content method switches back to the default content. What are the different types of testing supported by Selenium WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver is a versatile tool that supports various types of testing, making it a popular choice for automating web application testing across different stages of the software development lifecycle. The various types of testing supported by Selenium WebDriver include functional testing, regression testing, integration testing, cross-browser testing, performance testing, usability testing, accessibility testing, and localization testing. Explain the concept of TestNG and its advantages in Selenium WebDriver testing. TestNG is a testing framework for Java that facilitates the creation and execution of test cases. It provides annotations to define test methods, test suites, and test dependencies, making test code more organized and readable. TestNG offers features such as parameterization, data-driven testing, parallel execution, and reporting, enhancing test scalability and efficiency in Selenium WebDriver testing. Its flexible configuration options allow testers to customize test execution behavior, integrate with build tools, and generate comprehensive test reports, enabling seamless integration into continuous integration and delivery pipelines. Thus, it streamlines Selenium WebDriver testing processes, promotes best practices, and improves test automation efficiency and reliability. How do you handle file uploads and downloads in Selenium WebDriver? For file uploads, use the send keys method to specify the file path in the file input field. And check the example. As well for file downloads, set browser preferences to specify the download directory and handle download pop-ups. The provided code snippet demonstrates how to configure Chrome options to specify preferences for file downloads in Selenium WebDriver using Chrome Driver. What are the different types of listeners available in TestNG, and how do you implement them in Selenium WebDriver? TestNG provides several types of listeners that allow to customize the test execution flow and perform specific actions before, during, or after test methods or test suites. Types of listeners available in TestNG. iTest Listener Interface. It provides methods to listen to events related to test methods and test execution lifecycle, and can be implemented to perform actions such as logging, reporting, or capturing screenshots before or after test methods. iInvoked Method Listener provides methods to listen to events related to invoked test methods. It is implemented to perform actions before or after each test method invocation. iSuite Listener provides methods to listen to events related to test suite execution lifecycle. It can be implemented to perform actions before or after the entire test suite execution. iReporter. It provides methods to generate custom test reports. Can be implemented to generate custom reports in various formats based on the test results. iAnnotation Transformer provides methods to modify the annotations of test methods or classes at runtime. And it is implemented to dynamically modify test method annotations based on certain conditions or criteria. How do you perform cross-browser testing using Selenium WebDriver? Cross-browser testing can be performed by executing the same test scripts on different browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, Edge, etc. Can be achieved by initializing the WebDriver instance with the desired browser driver, e.g., Chrome driver, Firefox driver, and executing the tests. Explain the concept of WebDriver Manager. How do you use it in Selenium WebDriver tests? WebDriver Manager is a library that automates the management of WebDriver binaries required for browser automation. It downloads the appropriate driver binaries based on the browser version and operating system, eliminating the need for manual driver management. What are the best practices for writing efficient and maintainable Selenium WebDriver tests? Use Page Object Model, POM. So, organize tests using POM to separate test logic from UI interactions, thus improve code maintainability and reusability. Next, implement explicit waits. Avoid hard-coded sleep statements and use explicit waits to synchronize test execution with UI state changes, which enhances test reliability and efficiency. Parameterize test data. Use data-driven testing techniques to parameterize test data, enabling reuse of test cases with different input values and reducing duplication. Prioritize test cases. Focus on high priority and critical test cases first to maximize test coverage and identify show-stopping issues early in the development cycle. Regular test maintenance. Regularly review and update tests to ensure they remain relevant and effective, adapting to changes in the application's UI or functionality to maintain test stability and accuracy.